In the last episode, I stripped the BMW M1000RR that I raced in 2021. Now the next job on the list is to clean it. So I'm going to clean the bike as best I can using all my new Muc Off products that I've got. Now this bike has a lot of history and meaning for me, so I thought it'd be fun whilst I'm cleaning each part to go back through the race season round by round and talk about each race and the highs and lows of that season and where it inevitably ended up with me retiring from racing. Right, so first thing I'm going to do is open my new Muc Off brushes, get to work on the brakes. Now, this is a job I've seen people do lots of times before, which is removing the brake pads, but I've never done it myself, so. Right, let's clean these. I said I would give you a bit of history on this bike as I'm cleaning stuff. I guess we need to start with signing my contract. So in 2020, I signed to be on the Taz Racing Cinetic BMW in British Superbikes. Unfortunately, I broke my leg before the season even started, and that was the year of the Verona Kairos. I lost my ride at the end of the year, which was very disappointing because sort of my first shot I thought I had in Superbikes on a bike I enjoyed riding, but I didn't perform all year because my leg was not great at all. So Michael Rutter kindly signed me for the year after, and I got to work training all winter, preparing myself to win the championship. Didn't quite work out like that. I've just got myself a Domino's pizza.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, that was a question. You know when you're cleaning a radiator, how do you clean a radiator without wrecking it?
You want like a paintbrush, right?
Yeah.
Or a dishwashing brush. Nothing so strong, but strong enough, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
You know like what you wash your dishes in, it's like a bristly one.
Yeah.
That will work. But the key is, you never go side to side on the radiator core. Only up and down.
Right.
So when it's up and down, like following the fins of the radiator,
Yeah.
no problem. The minute you start going side to side, you'll just bend all them little tabs.
Right, okay, I'm with you. Because that's the main thing that's filthy, really. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, and then when you blow it, when you dry it with the airline,
Yeah.
you want to blow from behind
Okay.
out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you want to be drying it from the back. So basically all that actually sticks at the front of the radiator. So when you blow it from the back, you're blowing the radiator.
Yeah.
What many people do is they blow it from the front, and you're basically blowing the dirt that you've not cleaned off back in.
Oh, I'm with you. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's on the front, you see, because the back never gets dirty.
Yeah.
If you blow it from the front, you're pushing the dirt from the front to the back.
Okay. Got a little bit distracted there talking to Macaulay and having a pizza. But after we'd been pre-season testing, we went to the first race, which was Alton Park. And it was the first time I really got to ride the bike in anger after we'd done all our testing at Darley Moor, and we'd also gone to a runway and ridden the bike just in a straight line to test the anti-wheelie and the wings and things like that. And the first time we got to Alton Park, I was fortunate enough to qualify on pole. I did one of my fastest ever laps around Alton Park and felt really confident for the race and for the championship, to be honest, because Alton Park is a tricky track, and if your bike works around there, then there's a good chance it's going to work everywhere. So the race for Alton Park came about, and during the race I think I ended up in a battle with David Allingham, and I can't remember what he did. I think he jumped the start or did something anyway, which resulted in him getting a black flag, which he ignored, and I realised that he ignored the black flag. So regardless of whether I was in P1 or P2, My pit board said P1 because he'd been given a time penalty or been disqualified, I can't remember. So either way, I knew I'd won the race, but I didn't want to take any risks, so I passed him with a few laps to go and managed to win the race. So that was a good start to the season, winning the first event at Alton Park. Next up on the list, I think was Knock Hill was round 2. I don't know why Knock Hill was round 2. I might have got this completely wrong. But I remember being at Knock Hill and winning the first race at Knock Hill and feeling really comfortable and happy with everything. But weirdly, this was also the first time in my life that I didn't actually enjoy racing. And I won a race and I wasn't even bothered that I'd won the race, which was when I knew I didn't need to be racing motorbikes anymore, because if I wasn't enjoying winning, then what the hell was I doing it for? There was actually 2 races at Knock Hill. And the second race, unfortunately, I fell off the motorcycle leading the race and was very annoyed, to say the least. So lost out on 25 points, and to be honest, this was a turning point in our season that for one reason or another, and I don't really know why, we just struggled to find any form after that for a long time. Racing can be a weird sport at times, and despite having the best feeling in the world at the start of the year, it just didn't quite happen for quite a few races, and it wasn't until we got back to Snetterton, I believe, that we were back on the podium again. Didn't qualify particularly well, or wasn't particularly happy with the bike, but managed to ride quite well in the race and got back to second place in the race behind Tom Neve. Now I've managed to clean all of the grease out here using the degreaser. That chain lube had gone all up the inside there, so I've cleaned all that, cleaned the engine, cleaned the gear lever. I'm going to work my way around to the back of the bike now and do the chain and the inside of the swing arm. Now for anyone at home that wonders why I'm cleaning a bike that potentially for some people would already look clean, this is the level of detail that mechanics go to when they're prepping bikes. And to be honest, they'd go far further than this, as they'd take the engine out of the frame and clean all of the frame and the engine and make sure also whilst they're taking it out that there's no problems with the bike, there's no cracks in anything, there's no leaks from anything. And that's part of the reason we clean race bikes. But I'm cleaning this purely so it looks good in a showroom, which means getting rid of a lot of this grease that's in here. Clean that out with this brush. I have to say, these brushes are a lifesaver for getting into places you can't normally get into. Actually see a mark, I'm not sure if you see it on the camera there, but that is where the tyre has just kissed the inside of the swing arm. It's coming up a treat. Then the season after Snetterton just sort of went from bad to worse. Despite having an amazing team and a good bike, for one reason or another, it just didn't work out, and we had a few crashes. I think I crashed out at Thruxton. Ended up collecting Tom Ward with my bike, sorry Tom. And then we went to Cadwell Park, and at Cadwell Park one of the water hoses blew off and I lost all the water on the outlet. So that was another weekend with 25 more points gone and the championship sort of slipping out of our hands. So I've just had to get the results sheet back up because I couldn't remember what happened during the race season at certain points. And I think it's just my mind going blank to save myself from the pain. So to recap, Alton Park I won, Knock Hill I won. Then I DNF'd in the second race. Then Brands Hatch I had a third and a fourth, which I can't remember. Thruxton I crashed, which I do remember. And then the second race I remember the bike just wouldn't stop spinning up and I finished 7th. I then had 2 fourths at Donington, which I also don't remember, and it's unlike me because normally I go quite well at Donington, A DNF at Cadwell when the water hose came off. Snetterton was back to feeling good on the bike and I finished second. Then Silverstone, I finished 7th and 8th, and I don't remember that. Alton Park, I then finished 10th and 8th, and I don't remember that. And I know at that point I was getting pretty annoyed with racing because I felt like I was doing everything I could. We had a good bike, a good team, and it still wasn't happening. And I was just at a point where I'd had enough of motorbike racing. I wanted to do something else. The first time I actually realised I wanted to do something else was in lockdown, when I had so much time to think that I realised I didn't want to be a motorbike racer anymore. And this was it. So I sort of come to the decision then that I wasn't going to do it. And leading up to the next race at Donington Park, I told myself I would tell the team that I'd had enough. And that's what I did. So I told the team on the Thursday, sorry for boring you with this story if you already know, but then the Saturday it was wet and the bike felt horrendous. I couldn't ride it at all. But something magical happened on the Sunday. I went out on the warm-up lap and the bike felt exactly like it felt at the start of the year, and I was able to ride the way I wanted to again, and everything was hunky-dory, and I started last on the grid and passed 30-something people and ended up winning the race from the back of the grid. And it was nice just to prove to myself one last time that I can ride a bike, and I was stopping just because I wanted to stop, not because I couldn't do it, and that's what happened. We then went to the final race of the year at Brands Hatch, where I qualified on pole by over half a second, I think, because it started raining and it spitting. I ended up on dry tyres and risked it on some damp patches and ended up on pole. And then went to the final race of the year, which not many people know this story, that in the last race of the year, I came to the second to last lap in my mind, crossed the line and realised the checkered flag was out. So my big last lap plan that I had planned never came to fruition, so my racing career just ended on a bit of a damp squib in that I didn't even realise it was the last lap. And that was that. That was all she wrote. This bike then ended up going back to Michael Rutter because he was going to race it the next year. He prepped it for the TT, didn't end up racing it at the TT, and here she is now in all her glory. So I'm unbolting the final few things now. This is the water overflow catch bottle, and it's just a bit dirty on the inside, so I'm going to give this a rinse out on the outside tap. I've carried on wiping the bike down. A lot of this was just dust, to be honest. I managed to get rid of the grime and dirt on a lot of it that was sitting around the chain and the wheels, and then the rest has just been dust and grime and dirt around the frame area and all these sorts of bits. So I think it's pretty much there on the chassis side. The next job to do is to clean the parts that I've took off. So I'm going to do these on the bench on top of the toolbox over here. I don't actually have a bench in here, so just doing the best with what I've got. So next stage over here, clean all these parts. It's not very exciting, so I'll do a quick time lapse of me giving all this a wipe down. I'm just using a waterless wash from Muc Off, so I'll crack on with this now. Getting there now. I've cleaned all the parts that are due to go on the bike. And so it's time for a quick tidy up before I followed Macaulay's special instructions on how best to clean this radiator. So I filled the bottle up as per the instructions on the Muc Off bottle, and then slowly worked my way through cleaning this radiator to restore it back to its former self. Now make sure you subscribe so you can check back next week to see exactly how I get on in the final stage of this build.